All right, James Feustel is first up, fighting out of Red Schaefer MMA. And possibly this fight's going to last a little bit longer than the 14-second route that we had in the last one. As we were waiting on Feustel, here he is. Saw him bopping around, talked to him a little bit before the fights tonight, and an interesting character is Feustel. As this is our third AMI fight of the night, we go to 150 pounds in this one as Feustel getting checked out right now. There's our Carbon World Health tale of the tape. We saw Benigno Barrera in Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 10, and we will take a look at him right now, making his way to the cage. Benigno Barrera, a little bit more traditional walk-up music. He comes in with the Zarape and looks ready to rumble. Barrera, again, making his way to the ring, and he fights out of the Chosen Few. And we saw him victorious back in Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 10. Let's see what Barrera can do against Feustel in this one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Our third bout of the evening. This is an amateur catchweight bout set for 150 pounds and 3 rounds. Introducing first, this man fighting out of the Coliseum Bar, red corner. He stands in at 5'10" tall. He weighed in at 148.4 pounds. He hails from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and represents Red Schaefer Mixed Martial Arts, making his cage debut, Jay Feustel. His opponent, this man, fighting out of the Harley-Davidson of Madison, blue corner. Undefeated in his short career, 1 bout, 1 victory, 1 knockout. He stands in at 5'7" tall. He weighed at 150 ready pounds, hailing from Madison, Wisconsin, and representing the Chosen Few, Benigno Barrera.
Again, we saw Barrera victorious here in this cage back on January 14th in Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 10. He got the knockout that night. And again, if you missed any of the action, you could always go back on our YouTube channel. Check out the Wisconsin's 57 YouTube channel. We got a whole Chosen Few page. You could pick out the fight that you want to watch, and you could watch Barrera make his debut and be victorious. I tell you, Chris, I'm still a little bit floored that Feustel actually came to the cage to Marvin Gaye. That was a strange choice.
I'll tell you, top 5 favorite fight song. It just made it up there. I was telling our referee Tom DeVellis that my first overall was my brother Brian used to pick out songs for Scott Wagner. It was an old school fighter, and he used to make him come out to "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion. It was fantastic.
Strange choices indeed, as Barrera getting the takedown and getting some early control. Again, we saw him get the knockout in his last fight. And from Barrera, actually, to me, looks like he's put on even a little bit more muscle than when we saw him 3 months ago.
Yeah, he looks good, but I'll tell you right now, he's fighting a Red Schaefer guy, so you know a Red Schaefer's guy is going to have good submission. So on their back, you really have to pay attention. And having that leg swung over, he could have been a little danger, was not, though. Good job from Barrera, staying heavy. Gerald, talk a little bit about what Red Schaefer brings to mixed martial arts and how his guys can be so good from the bottom.
You know, he's a very high-level grappler. You can see in his fights in the UFC, he really he dominates the ground game, especially off his back. They're really heavily studied in the art of jiu-jitsu, very comfortable using their legs to bind up the necks and the arms and other appendages of their opponents. As you saw, Feustel was going for a triangle there, now working to his feet. So, you know, just brings a really good jiu-jitsu game with all his fighters.
And on the other side, Gerald, you have Kane Rizzo. And I had said this to Rich last time, but maybe you can expand on it a little bit. One of the best jiu-jitsu for MMA guys in Wisconsin. How does that work out when you've got a guy that's one of the first ever black belts in jiu-jitsu here in Wisconsin, but yet also was a professional fighter? How much difference can he bring to the cage jiu-jitsu-wise?
I mean, it brings a totally different style of game. Guys that practice straight jiu-jitsu may not be as used to the top dominated sport of MMA. So Kane, you know, brings a whole different look. incorporates a lot more strikes, and it can make for a very interesting fight. As we saw, Feustel came forward with the hands, and now we have Barrera shooting in, getting on top, trying to be dominant in his top game and get some points here in this first round.
Yeah, a couple of good rights by Feustel, and Barrera just dropped to the mat, locked the leg up, and took Feustel down. And that's where we're at right now, as Barrera on top of Feustel once again, as we saw a little bit earlier here in round number 1. Good left from Barrera as he is fighting back in what so far is a pretty even round.
Yeah, I like what both of these guys have brought so far, and I like the fact that after being on his back, that Feustel was able to throw the left and the right and land and catch Barrera. And he had him a lot of trouble because Barrera fell back against the cage. But good instincts from Barrera to take him down.
Absolutely, as Barrera survives the onslaught from Feustel's right hands, and we'll live to see round number 2. We'll see it as well right after this short timeout here on Wisconsin's 57 Sports. All right, taking a look at some of the replays here as you see a takedown there by Barrera and squaring off in the center. Both guys seem to have good moments here in round number 1.
And there's those good rights and lefts that landed for Feustel. It really did have Barrera in trouble. He was covering up, so a few of them hit the forearms, but at least 3 of those shots landed pretty solid right on the forehead and eye area of Barrera. So good job from Feustel. He needs to do more of that in round 3 here, or round 2 here.
And glad you could join us here on Wisconsin's 57. This is Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 11. We're in the 3rd fight out of 13 tonight. So if you're just clicking us on right now, sit back, relax, enjoy, maybe pop open an adult beverage and enjoy all the action that we have here for you tonight as we head towards our main event between Compton and Gilpin, as Gilpin defends his professional belt.
And once again, Rich, I just want to mention it for the audience at home, special guest we have with us here in the booth, Gerald the Machine Mearshart, Wisconsin's newest UFC fighter. Gerald, tell us, because most people in this world are never going to get to experience this, that first walkout up to the UFC cage. What kind of emotions were you running through?
I mean, it was crazy. It was a culmination of almost a decade of hard work. Just seeing everybody in the stands, being in a big arena like that, you know, knowing I had worked for it and then performing under those lights is a life-changing experience, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it's an experience I have for many years to come.
And you won pretty quickly by submission. I've always heard a lot of fighters have that adrenaline dump when they get their first fight in the UFC. Did you think you were going to experience anything like that?
I try not to think too much about it. I thought there might be a little, cage jitters just being the first time in the UFC. I was surprisingly calm, but again, I've had, almost 30-plus fights before I even got there, so definitely a seasoned veteran.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool scene. I'm thinking, too, out of all the people that I would like to meet at an event like that, I'd like to actually meet Michael Buffer, or Bruce Buffer, and talk to him. I don't know if Michael ever shows up at him, too. But I love the ring announcers for that kind of stuff, and Bruce Buffer does a great job introducing everybody. I don't know, Chris, is that up your alley at all?
Well, considering there's not many of us out there, no, I don't want to see Bruce Buffer at an event. Because that means he's taking the paycheck that I want.
Exactly. Takes a pretty good one, too. A lot of energy for those fights, a lot of energy in this room right now, especially coming off of the Mayhew fight that we saw in round number 2, fight number 2. Here in round number 2, what we are seeing with these two fighters, a little bit different than round 1, as it's been a lot of striking. Both guys have spent the round on their feet.
And Feustel looks fantastic right now. He's got the more energy of the two fighters. You could tell Barrera's a little gassed out, hands hanging low, and those overhands from Feustel are landing.
Yeah, here we see Barrera again shooting in out of desperation, getting a little tired there. He doesn't want any part of the stand-up with Feustel, but Feustel doing a good job sprawling, showing a good wrestling game, trying to keep this fight on the feet or at least stay on top.
Feustel seems to have the edge here in round number 2, as this is the first time that we are going to the mat here in this second round. Final 10 seconds as Barrera back up on his feet, maybe trying to steal a couple points here at the end of the round. Left misses, and that's how round number 2 is going to end. We go to the third and final round next It is Barrera and Feustel, and it is 57 Sports. All right, taking a look at the action here from round number 2. You talked about the energy of Feustel. Did a good job of striking and scoring here in the second round.
Yeah, nothing special about it. He was literally coming straight down the pipe with those strikes, and there was nothing Barrera could do to stop him. So that's good. Don't do too much in a situation like that. If it's working for you, keep it going and keep your sprawl working like Gerald had mentioned in the middle of that round, and you're going to win this fight.
And if nothing else, too, for Barrera, again, this is just his second fight, getting some great experience in the cage here tonight against a very game fighter in Jay Feustel, who seems to have a lot of energy as we start round number 3.
If I didn't know before this fight that Feustel was a debut, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah?
He looks fantastic, and he looks completely calm in there, too.
Yeah, he has not been shaken by anything that Barrera has done. A little bit maybe early on when he was on his back, but he was able to get off of that. And right now seems to have the upper hand in this fight. But this is a close one, and the judges kind of surprised us in the first fight. So you never know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I would have never given or the fact that there was a split in that first fight just drives me nuts. The fact that one judge could see it so much differently than the other two judges, and really all of us sitting here cage side. But that's exactly why they say what, Gerald? What does everybody say in this sport?
Don't leave it to the hands of the judges.
That's right, because you never know what those geniuses are going to do.
Good right, and another one by Feustel as a couple of them connected to the face of Barrera, who is now clenching here, actually covering up, and he's shaking his head like, nope, that doesn't hurt me. But he took some punishment there. Now he's giving it back. Here comes Barrera with a flurry. A left and a right. He had an uppercut in there as well, as Barrera showing he could go toe-to-toe with Feustel. And good action here in round number 3.
And great toughness from Barrera. He looked hurt, and usually when a fighter shakes their head, that means that hit me and it hurt, but I'm going to pretend like it didn't. He did a great job coming back there and throwing right back at Feustel.
Good striking by both fighters. Now it is Barrera coming in with a heavy knee to the midsection of Feustel. He's got him up against the wall, but Feustel breaks away. Barrera seems to like to scrap, as he does have a cut, but that is under his right eye.
And at this time, it looks like Feustel is finally a little bit worse for the wear. He's a little more flat-footed in this round than he was in round 2, and Barrera looks like he's picked it up a bit.
Both fighters taking some punishment, both fighters giving some punishment as well here in round number 3, as we have seen good striking from both fighters and some good boxing. Good right again by Barrera, lands to the left side of the head of Feustel.
Now here we see Barrera again having a lot of success when he throws more than one punch. Every time he comes forward and throws combinations, he puts Feustel on his heels.
Took a good jab as he comes in, Barrera, but is able to match that with a left of Feustel. Feustel's overhand right misses the mark, but now he hits the side of that of Barrera. Another good combo there from Feustel as he's now taking the edge. Barrera gets a kick in. Look out! Good left from Barrera.
Boy, these guys are throwing hard this time, Rich. It's surprising to me that as tired as both of them looked in the second round that they're able to put that much behind it, and we only got 10 seconds left here, Rich.
Barrera tries to shoot the leg again. Both fighters doing a great job of striking. The crowd loves it here at the exhibition hall at Monona Terrace. We will go to the cards next here on 57 Sports. All right, looking at action from round number 3 as Gerald, what did you see here? It seemed like both fighters were trading some good shots here.
You know, in round number 3, Barrera really picked it up. In the first 2 rounds, he was only throwing single shots. In the third, he started throwing those combinations and kind of getting back at Feustel a little bit, and that's where we really saw fireworks.
Both guys dishing it out. It's going to be interesting as we go to the cards, and so I don't know how to score this one. How do you see this one?
From what I saw sitting here cage side, I think Feustel got the first 2 rounds. I think he was more aggressive on his back and even had him on his heels a little bit in the first. I think he handily won the second. The third round, Barrera tried to turn it around. I could see the third going to Barrera and maybe even a draw, but I would think 2 rounds to 1 for sure for Feustel.
All right, that is what you got for a decision. And boy, oh boy, you might be a precog with that kind of decision. It's good to always have an expert sitting ringside. We will go for the official word up to Chris Garrity after an action-packed third fight of the night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, after a fantastic catchweight 150-pound bout, let's one more time give both of these fighters a huge round of applause for a great fight. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. The judges have this bout 29-28, a unanimous decision in favor of fighting out of the red corner, Jay Feustel.
Excellent fight, tons of action, good experience gained here for Benigno Barrera, but walking away with a winner in his debut with the blood coming out of his nose. Jay Feustel, impressive in his first fight. All right, we got Gary Kunkel, we got Ben Gladem there. Coming up next here on Chosen Few Fighting Championships, number 11, right here on Wisconsin's 57 Sports.